I am happy, complete. I know that you folks have known me a long, long time.
Died at his home in Rockford, Michigan yesterday. He was 63. Despite suffering for years from emphysema and a degenerative spinal condition, York continued to maintain a positive approach to life, an approach that he brought to his acting as well.
Hey guys, how are you today? If you're new to the channel, I welcome you, and if you're returning, welcome back. That is usually how I start, and that is how I'm starting today. It is Chris here, and I'm coming to you from just outside, I believe we're just outside Grand Rapids, Michigan. I don't know if we're in East Grand Rapids or Rockford, but I'm at Plainfield Cemetery, and I'm here to visit the grave of an actor that I greatly admire and I've watched for a long time. Of course, I'm talking about Darren Stevens, but you would know him as Dick York. Now, his real name is actually Richard Allen York, and he was born in Indiana, but this is the final resting place of Dick York, as you would know him, and I want to pay respects to him, and I want to talk a little bit about his career and his life. So come with me today. Let's go check out the final resting place here in Plainfield Cemetery of Dick York. Come with me. I'm going to walk through the cemetery and see if we can find the final resting place of Dick York. Now, the cemetery is built really long. It's not a huge, I mean, I've gone to cemeteries all over the country. I spent a lot of time in cemeteries. And this one's not a massive cemetery. It's built long, but it's a pretty small cemetery. So let's check out the cemetery and see if we can find the final resting place of Dick York. I know from doing a little bit of research, he's not far over from the gates. And of course, I can't miss that right there. The Bewitched DVD. I think that tells me whose grave that is. There's the grave of Richard York, Dick York, September 4th, 1928 to February 20th, 1992. Now, there is other family members here because Joan York is right there, and that's January 20th, 2012.
Today, Dick York lives an extremely modest life along with his wife Joan here outside Rockford, Michigan.
But this is the final resting place in the grave of Richard York. So let me talk a little bit about Richard York. Now, he was involved with radio, stage, film, and then of course on the TV show Bewitched.
Thank you from the bottom of my withers.
Not at all, my boy.
He actually played teacher Bertram Cates in the film Inherit the Wind in 1960.
$100.
Now, as I had mentioned, he was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana on September 4th, 1928. Now, a lot of his career, there was a setback. In 1959, while working on a movie, he suffered a serious back injury, and that actually hampered his career for many years to come.
But he left the series due to an old back injury, the result of this grueling scene in the Gary Cooper movie, They Came to Cordura.
Now, even when Bewitched was a success, he left in 1969 because his physical health had just deteriorated. Now, he was a 3-pack a day smoker, and that's back when we didn't really know the dangers like we do now. Now, he would even smoke on the set of Bewitched. Now, by 1989, he had emphysema. And, of course, his back problems never really left. Now, like I had mentioned, in 1969, he left Bewitched because of his health problems. But between 83 and 85, he regained some of his health, and he was able to do small parts on Simon & Simon, Fantasy Island. So he was able to stay in the acting community. But it's right here. Now, he passed away in a hospital not too far from here, but that's the final resting place of Dick York. Now, as I mentioned, he actually died in a hospital here in East Grand Rapids, Michigan. He was only 63 years old, and he died from complications of emphysema. Alrighty, guys, I am so glad I got to share with you some details about Dick York, and I'm glad I got to share my visit to his final resting place. It's right here outside Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I'm glad I got to share this with you. Richard Allen York. Like I had said, when I do a lot of these, I enjoy learning about the person, but I was already a huge fan of Dick York. So I'm glad you joined me today. Hit that subscribe button below. I have a lot more content coming out. Celebrity graves, true crime, filming locations, pop culture, you name it. Come with me, and I appreciate you joining me today. From a cemetery here near Grand Rapids, Michigan, and the final resting place of Dick York, I thank you for joining me. Peace and love, everyone.
And now I'm in your heart.